And welcome once again to Investor's Edge. I'm Gary Culp. I'm your host. Hey, thanks for being with us today. Glad you're here, ladies and gentlemen. Happy that you are listening. It's September 2nd. It's a Tuesday. It's 2025. Hope you had a good 3-day weekend. I would like to, first off, thank Adam Sarhan for handling the show last week while I was out. My father, at the age of almost 94, passed away the night of August 24th in his sleep. Actually, the morning of the 25th, the night of the 24th. As I said with my mom, who deteriorated, heartbroken as heartbroken can be, but relieved. My father, in the last few weeks, for lack of a better way to explain it, went south viciously, unfortunately. I had been visiting every week. The only weekend I haven't been up there in a long time was the weekend that he did pass. And he knew it. He actually knew. That night, I have a video sent to me the night before. My father had 2 women, 12-hour shifts. And the woman at night could never get any sleep because every hour my father would be calling for her. The night before, he called her over, took her arm. I have the video. I just want to thank you. And I'm sorry. He was telling her that he was sorry for being a pain in the arse and thanking her for everything she did. He knew. It's been a very tough and rough week for me, my brother. While I was up there and into the weekend, I'm so used to my default setting was, what time am I going over there to see my father? And I'm realizing, wait a minute, he's now gone. And I'm so used to planning my flight Thursday nights on Delta to go up there. And I realize this coming weekend, I'm not going up there. It's an empty feeling right now. And, of course, everybody goes through it. At whatever time you lose both your parents. I know how you all feel now. You know, as we get older, new events happen, good and the other side. One of the good events was my grandson last July 5th. But now on Thanksgiving, my mom, and now my father. And it's weird. It's a weird feeling. So a big thank you to Adam again, and a big thank you to, just so you know, via emails, texts, I don't know how people got my phone number, and social media. What do you call it when social media gets a hold of you? 75,000 total. 75,000. I guess having a little radio show and being on TV, you have a reach. And 75,000 of you reached out. And one can never forget that. So thank you. my brother who lives up there and was really 24/7 up there, a lot more than me, I think's feeling it big time, and he's getting along, we hope, very well, and we will and he's my older brother. We will make sure he is, well, family will be staying with him. All right. Gee, we got to now do other things, right? So let's bypass last week because I don't even remember last week. It's a blur. We'll go into this week, and there are a few things I want you to know specifically of import. And as usual, we do not pull any punches with the powers that be, who are, let's be diplomatic today. If I had a chance to sit down with the people in the White House right now, I'd tell them to stop it, that we're not idiots and we're not stupid. We'll get into that a little bit. In case you don't know, this is Investor's Edge, serious talk on everything that affects you. We will do the markets, the economy, your job, your industry, everything that really does matter, including the bull crap that's being spewed. If you do not get this radio show in your city, we'll post it at GaryK.com. We'll also post it on our X feed. And if you don't follow us on X, you should. If you'd like to email us, please do. Just be nice. And again, for all that emailed us, thank you so much. Much appreciation. It made me feel a hell of a lot better and in a very tough week. And again, we will do things going forward without any agenda, ulterior motive, or bias whatsoever. Simple as that. We believe in you, not them. We believe they're just interlopers, including this administration, which is even worse than many other administrations in getting in our faces. We'll explain what we mean by that. And again, we will do it in a very diplomatic way. And again, without any agenda, ulterior motive, or bias. Simple as that. And you may agree with me, you may disagree with me. Let's do it respectfully. I will be respectful on the way back towards you. That is a promise from me to you as we move into September. By the way, I know they tell us September, end of the world, bad month. We believe in seasonality. We know seasonality. Guess what? We pay attention to the markets. They will decide for us. Nothing more than that. Markets are smart. I keep hearing we're going into recession. We keep saying there's no chance of it. How do we know? Because if we're going into recession, guess what happens to markets first? How do we know that? We've studied every recession and every deep recession. Markets will tank before we go into recession. It's pretty simple as that. It's called following the bouncing ball. That's it. We follow the bouncing ball. Everything else is a lot of noise. And I can tell you there are people out there predicting crashes and smashes and recession depressions. I'm letting you know the market will let us know. The market cannot crash unless you break the 50-day moving average. We know that as a fact. It's a guarantee. It's a physical fact of the market. Every recession has been preceded by a bad market. And we pretty much know which areas of the market will drop before recession. It'll be the caterpillars and the deers. It'll be the semiconductors. It'll be the financials. It's very simple. And it'll be the market. Why? Because in recessions, profits fall off a cliff, and the market telegraphs that. And you know when markets bottom? When you're in the midst of the recession and you're bottoming out of it. It'll know that too. How do we know this again? We've studied every bull and bear market. How's that? So I just want to let you know, while we were away, still had our ears open. Boy, there's a lot of people calling for crashes. And we're not going to name names because it's selling something. Notice most of them are selling books. And notice some of them are lying about their records. I'm not going to mention who. I think you know. So up next, we'll go through the markets, and then we'll take on a few little things. I'm Gary. This is the one and only Investor's Edge. Okie dokie. Well, today, going into September, the Dow was down 600 early, finished down 250. NASDAQ was down over 400, finished down only 176. I can tell you that a bunch of growth names that were slaughtered on the open finished up on the day. I can tell you also that we are kind of thrilled that a lot of growth names are now in their third and fourth week of sitting around, hanging out. Hopefully that sets us up. We actually hope the market drifts lower in September and have a good end of the year move. We'll see. As we opened today, I was watching and I kept furiously scanning. I couldn't find much in the way of things breaking down, which is usually a good sign for right now. We'll see. Tomorrow's another day. Maybe they come in tomorrow and distribute things again. Don't know. So the market is off the highs. Whoopee-doo. Just a little correction so far. I do want to let you know a few important things. Technically, number one, the Dow, which broke out of range 2 Fridays ago on the Powell-Jackson Hole BS, actually was trying to undercut it today, but finished back above that little range. So the breakout is still there. Keep in mind, it's just the Dow, and we give weight to the Dow, but less because it's 30 names. That's number one. Number two, and this is where we get more import, the NASDAQ dropped down today to the 10-week moving average / 50-day and held and bounced off the lows. That's good to see. And the NASDAQ 100 undercut, finished back above. Let me explain in case you haven't heard before. The 50-day moving average is the area in bullish phases. The institutions stand up and defend price. And maybe every now and then let it go a little bit below, but turn it right back up. And it's ascending during that time. In bearish phases, the 50-day moving average is descending. Price is below it, and every rally into the descending fails. And right now today of import, that NASDAQ 100 that has all that concentration, we've done it for you, 7 stocks, 34% of the NASDAQ 100, and 64% NASDAQ 100, and 34% of the S&P. So we watch them closely. That held today. It's the first visit since the uptrend started to the 50-day. Normality is the first time visited, holds. The question going forward is what happens on the second and third if that does occur. Just letting you know. So good defense today. The best way I can explain it to you. Good defense today for the NASDAQ and NASDAQ 100, which is quite of import going forward because they pretty much, technology stocks, very simply, how do I put this? Usually markets up and down. And in the aftermarket, I'm not seeing any news, but mega cap Google, which was down to, at one point today, Google, which was, let's see, to give you an idea, hit 207. I got it closing at 211. It's now 219 in the aftermarket. I don't see any news yet, but there obviously is some news out there. I'll let you know if we get it during the show. And, of course, the NASDAQ 100 futures are up a little bit in the aftermarket. I don't know what the news is, but something good's going on. Another story is the gold. It's soaring, and we're very careful with our words. A good clue was the gold miners. We always tell you the miners, when they get going, it usually means gold's going to follow even more, and that's exactly what happened. So the miners have been stronger than the metal for the last few weeks, and then the metal finally broke out last week. I'll give you the GLD, broke out at 217. Today was up $7.50 on very big volume for 325 and change. That is an 18-week trading range breakout. And what do we tell you about stocks or things breaking out? The longer they're in a range and then break out, usually the more important. Which has us thinking about other things. What's going on with gold? Is there anything nefarious going on with gold? Well, I have a few things I want to mention. I want you to listen carefully, because this will include this administration. Central banks around the globe have lowered interest rates. I believe I read 75 times in last year, I guess. That's a lot. That's a hell of a lot of lowering interest rates. At the same time they're lowering their interest rates, by the way, these are short-term interest rates. Their long-term interest rates have been going higher. Does that remind you of anything? Do you remember when Jay Powell took rates to zero and started printing all kinds of money? We told you too much money chasing nothing will lead to inflation. And then inflation soared to 9-10%. We kept warning everybody. Nobody listened because we're under the radar. And all hell broke loose. And when did the inflation start coming down? When he stopped printing money and when he started raising rates to catch up to the thing he created. Well, you have all these central bankers now. You get the point? They're lowering the short-term rates. They're lowering their short-term rates. But their long-term rates are going higher. When Jay Powell, well, you know what happened. Interest rates on the long end went higher when he had to start playing catch-up. This is something to watch because gold has been something of an inflation monitor. Up next, what's the other part? That's up next on Investor's Edge. So, just so you know, as I sit here, both Apple and Google are having big moves. Well, for them, really good moves in the aftermarket. We're not talking huge percentage terms, but they're gargantuan stocks. Apple's up 2.8% in the aftermarket. Google is up actually 5.6%. I still don't have any news in real time as I speak to you, but I'm pretty damn sure there's some news coming out. If I find it, we'll let you know. How's that? But that'll certainly help the NASDAQ 100 going into tomorrow. No, I don't see any. Oh, here we go. Google not required to sell Chrome in the antitrust ruling. So Google got a good whatever in the courts. U.S. judge, let's see, Google will not have to sell off Chrome on the online search. The company will not have to sell Chrome. We knew that was going to happen, but we didn't know it would have that effect. And Apple, why would Apple go up? I don't have, I've got to add 1 + 1 = 2 on that. I'm not so sure. Okay, but that'll help out the NASDAQ 100 in the morning. So as I said to you, too easy money causes inflation. You got that? I know the political side, everybody on the right blamed Joe Biden for the inflation. No. It was Jay Powell. And all the talk of firing Jay Powell for what he's doing now, no. He should have been fired back then for what he was doing. Right now, he's really not doing much wrong. So that's something I'm thinking about here. Why is gold soaring? It usually is an inflation monitor. So 2 things. Number 1, gold is very extended here, probably pulls back, and that's fine and dandy. If it's an inflation thing, that's something that's got to be watched. Which takes us to Donald Trump. If we could sit him down and look at him face to face, and if he decided to listen, because I don't know if he would. Mr. President, you're completely wrong on interest rates. You're completely wrong. And let me explain to you what the repercussions could be. You keep talking about the central bank needs to lower interest rates, but all they do is lower the Fed funds rate. And yes, that has something to do with certain loans here and there. But if you go too far, you're going to create inflation. And if you create inflation, that 10-year yield, that's your mortgages, the potential for it to spike up. And then what are you going to do? Then what are you going to do? Then what are you going to do? And especially you're out there saying you want 1% Fed funds rates, which would be insanity when the 10-year yield's at 4.3. Now, if you want to lower rates, that's okay. The Fed's at 4.25, go to 4, go to 3.75. Not going to end the world. But too much easy money creates inflation, your long-term yields go up, and guess what happens to mortgages and the housing market? It worsens. And guess what happens to inflation? It goes up. And one of the main reasons you won the election, well, Joe Biden sucked, but a lot of it was inflation. That's what I'd be telling him. What I loathe the most is that the sycophants just believe anything he says, and he's wrong. It's okay to lower rates a little bit. It's not okay to drop them big time. That's not okay. You will cause all kinds of problems because the market is much smarter than any move by anyone out there. And doesn't mean pinpoint. Jay Powell, once he did the stupid, it took a while for it to hit. It took a while for the inflation. And then all hell broke loose. And inflation finally came down when he stopped printing. And he raised rates. So that's number one. And I would tell that straight to his face, the president. It also irritates the hell out of me that the latest from the administration, we may declare an emergency in the housing market. What have I warned you for forever about government? Whenever they say emergency or crisis, they're full of it. Unfortunately, this administration is becoming autocratic. They want to control 10% of Intel. Their own people on the central bank, even though it's supposed to be independent. Fire the head of the BLS and put one of my buddies in. I can go on. That's autocracy. And that should not be emanating out of the White House. Emergency on housing? No, there isn't. It's Jay Powell. Jay Powell caused the problem in housing. 0% got mortgages down to 3%, and you created a bubble. Let the housing bubble fix itself. Don't interfere. Prices are coming down. Affordability is going to get better. Home builders will build more. Get the hell out of the way. I know they think they're geniuses and Trump's a billionaire and Besant's a hedge fund guy. Leave the markets alone. Let it flush itself out. How does that happen? Let me tell you what's going on in the housing market in many areas. Days to sell are going higher. Why? Because prices are too high. What are sellers doing? They're lowering their prices now. What does that do? Attract buyers at a certain level. That's the market doing its thing. Leave it the hell alone. You'll only screw it up. And again, autocratic. I want to now deal. I just want to run the housing market now. No, we don't want that. We don't want anybody in government running housing, just like we don't want Madami, that communist in New York City. I'm going to have to start calling the president a socialist if this continues. Socialism is government running so many things. And it's got to stop. And unfortunately, it's not. It's worsening. And you know what it's worsening on? The tariffs. So, the president and his hyperbole this week while I was gone said, the economy will be destroyed if we cannot do tariffs. I don't know if you know, but judges came out and said his global tariffs are illegal because you're doing tax policy. Something to that effect. And we've been telling you that all along. That the president should not be able to do what he's doing. And that goes for any president. Just remember, we're not singling Trump out. We're singling out policy. So the president's out saying the economy will be destroyed if he can't do tariffs. If I was able to sit down with the president, I'd look at him and say, stop BSing the public. Stop the BS. You don't need to do that. You got some good ideas, but stop the BS. The economy will not be destroyed if you can't tariff anymore. That's number one. And number two, I would ask him, who exactly are you? What do I mean by that? That'll be up next on this, the one and only Investor's Edge. So, here's the marketing and the selling of this administration on tariffs. If the judges do not allow him to tariff, the economy will go into the crapper. Now, I want you to think about this. And who am I addressing? You know how when I was always going up against Biden, I would say I'm addressing the left. Think about it, you on the left that loves Biden. On purpose, he opened the border, let 10 million people in, flew people around the country at 3 in the morning into different cities, making the mayors of the city and the governors of those states have to go into their big pockets in their treasury to spend on these migrants that were coming in, hurting, taking over hotels. The costs go up, debt and deficits go up, and Biden said, just lied to you for 4 years with Mayorkas. He was the worst president ever. We were addressing you, the left. We now have to address you, the right, the conservatives. You are not a conservative. You're not conservative if you believe in tariffs. Tariffs are a tax hike on this country, our businesses, and our consumers. You believe in tax hikes? No, you don't. I know many conservatives. They hate tax hikes. They hated Kamala Harris's proposals of hiking taxes on anything that moved. Well, that's what these tariffs are. And no longer can you say, well, it's just trade policy because he raised the 50% tariff on Brazil because Brazil was treating the ex-president meanly. That's not trade policy. That's using tariffs on a whim. You want me to name others on a whim? Because India. I'm tariffing India now a lot more because India dares buy oil from Russia. What? We have a trade surplus with countries that we are tariffing. I can go on. So we're just letting you know, to you conservatives, to you on the right, to you MAGA that loves Trump and think everything he says is the gospel, let me repeat. And I even saw Stephen Moore, who used to be in the Trump purview last 4 years, in the first Trump, even come out today and finally agree with me and say, tariffs are a tax hike, which means he'll probably be excommunicated from Trump. It's a huge hike in tax. It's a huge tax hike. And I got news for you. When a country announces 0% tariff on us, but we announce a 15% tariff on them, they're laughing their asses off over there. Because they're not taxing their people, but we're taxing our people. And in case you don't know, prices are moving higher now. Tariffs are affecting a few things now. Just letting you know. So if I had a chance to sit down with the president and he actually listened to me, I'd save him. Because if he goes too far with tariffs, I'm just letting you know my belief. And you can disagree or agree, does not matter. Because that's what makes the markets. I think there'll be big trouble ahead. I hope I'm wrong. I'm rooting for him. And when you hear him say, well, we're bringing in trillions, I would say stop the BS. You're not bringing in trillions. It's not coming from elsewhere. It's coming from us. It's not coming from China when you put on a tariff. We're paying it. Enough of the BS, Mr. President. Stop. Stop. And look, unfortunately, there are people that defend him no matter what. I call them fake conservatives, fake Republicans. Sorry, that's what you are. Either you have principles or you don't. And as you know, we don't care about anybody in D.C. We only care about policy. We don't see Trump. We don't see Biden. We don't see Bush. We don't see Obama. We see policy. And man, oh man, there's been a lot of sucky policy And that's how you get the $37 trillion. Oh, by the way, Trump's going to be running a $2 trillion deficit this year on purpose. That's the other part. So I wanted to come back and do this first. That way I don't have to talk about the president the rest of the week. Don't send me any hate mail. We're telling you the truth. It is not opinion. It is truth. And we hope they've got it right. We hope I've got it wrong. Seriously. And I do mean that. We hope in 2 years from now they say, oh, we collected $5 trillion. It's a $5 trillion tax hike. But we hope it does not make the economy suffer, does not screw things up. We'll be glad to come on here and say, they were right, I was wrong. But it's still a gargantuan tax hike on you and companies. And that's why Apple just kissed his butt and went there and said they're going to spend all kinds of money that they're not going to spend. But they're appeasing. And they got exemptions. Apple just paid $1.9 billion in taxes. For example. We'll keep you informed. That all said, one more time, thanks so much to all of you. You all have a great evening. Drive carefully. When you get home, do like we do. Quite simple. Make sure you hug your family. Make sure you hug your children. They will feel better. You will feel better. I promise. They will be well. Until tomorrow, peace out all. Good night.